on your mind. I was like holding the wall, hitting the floor, I'm choking. The snake was in the tree and I was sitting. Like, when I tell you that only God can kill me, I mean it. I mean it. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and it's your favorite Tita from Adventures with Tita, and we are back with another video. I took a hiatus for 1 week just because I can. Anyway, in today's video, you can probably tell by the title, we're having a triple story time. So basically what got me the idea of making the story time was I heard that Final Destination, I think it's Final Destination 5 is coming out soon, and I felt kind of inspired. For anyone who doesn't know, basically Final Destination is a series of movies which I haven't watched it, but from my understanding it's about people who manage to evade their death. Like, you know, they're supposed to die on this day, whatever, and then they somehow manage to survive that, so they need to continue surviving because now literally anything can kill them. Like, anything random can kill them because they're supposed to be dead already. And when I first heard about Final Destination, I realized it reminded me so much of my real life, and that's why we're here today. Because I think if anyone has survived Final Destination in this world, it's me. I've survived my Final Destination 3 times. So without further ado, grab your popcorn, grab a snack, find a comfortable place to sit, share this video with your friends, your family, like, subscribe, get ready to comment, and let's get into the video. Just a quick disclaimer, these stories are things that happen to me. If it feels inaccurate to you, honestly, cry me a river. Okay, let's get into the first story. Right, when I was 16, I think I was in lower 6. I used to go to boarding school, right? And we used to have like an exit weekend, which was once every like quarter of the term, something like that. So we'd go home. So I remember I'd gone home for the exit weekend, and obviously I wouldn't get to see my family a lot because of boarding school. So I was talking to my sister. She was cooking. We're in the kitchen. She was cooking. I'm talking to her, but I had a flu. I had a really bad cold, and yeah, it was just terrible. Like, my nose was all blocked, my throat was sore, everything was just horrible. But anyway, I'm a yapper, so I was soldiering through, and I was, you know, telling my story. My sister's there cooking, you know. And then I went to my mom. It's like, you know, Mom, I feel like I want medication. Is there anything that you can give me, just like, you know, like a lozenge or something? So she told me, oh, there are these pills that I actually just got, and you can, it's nothing crazy, just like think flu med vibes, nothing illegal. Like, my mom is not a drug dealer. Anyway, so she's like, oh, it was a big pill. It was probably like this, maybe, yeah, very flat. So she was like, oh, this pill is like one of those that you suck on until it finishes, so you don't swallow it at once or chew it, because it was huge. It didn't taste nice as such, but it wasn't bad. Anyway, the point is, I took this pill, right? So you have to suck it until it's like completely finished. I'm talking to my sister, I'm talking. The pill is slowly dissolving in my mouth, and then I don't remember at all what my sister said to me, and I started laughing. And when I laughed, I inhaled, and that little pill went in my throat. And remember, this pill was huge, and it wasn't dissolving like this way, it was dissolving this way, just becoming flat. So it was a flat disc, and it went and sat in the wrong tube, so it's covering my airway, and I'm literally half bent over, like, you know, proper choking sounds. And like, you know what, I once heard that if someone chokes, you know they're choking for real when they can't talk. And that's so real, because talking is like the last thing on your mind. I was like holding the wall, hitting the floor, I'm choking. My sister is having a whole little panic attack. She's standing there. In my head, I'm like, girl, you want me to die or what? Anyway, I'm convulsing, running out of air, and you know what? I don't want to say my life flashed before my eyes, because I feel like that's a lie. As a person with a near-death experience, I would just like to say that my experience, I don't know, some people claim to see white lights and all that. I didn't see any of that. But when I thought I was dying, that day I really thought I was dying. In that moment, like, you know, after you thingy for the first like 20 seconds, you start to think, hey, it's really, this is the conclusion, you know. And I did have like a life flashing before my eyes moment, but it wasn't like, oh, me thinking about all the things that I've done in my wonderful life. It was almost like a flash forward, because now I was thinking like, oh my gosh, I haven't done this and I haven't done that and I haven't said sorry to this person and this person still thinks that I'm angry at them and this person doesn't know. It was like, it felt like the longest time, but in retrospect it was probably like two minutes, maybe, probably less. So I'm choking, my sister is panicking, my mom is in the next room, right, and she doesn't know how serious this is yet. So she's like, right, which for anyone who doesn't speak Shona, it just means who's that who's coughing, they should drink water, right? In my mind I'm like, girl, water? I couldn't even have taken anything into my body at that point, because I was so focused on like trying to, and you know the thing is, you're trying to breathe, right? So breathing, obviously everybody knows breathing is like in and out, right? Variating. So I'm trying to cough, right? Push air out so that this little disc can get out of my, windpipe and out of my mouth. But the problem is I'm running out of air. So every time it's about to get out, then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm running out of air. I need to breathe. So I inhale and then it dumps back, right? And then my sister obviously yelled like she's choking. Now, thank God, right? This happened when I was 16. Let's when I was 9, I was like 8 or 9, my dad went to a first aid course. And I remember thinking,
that's kind of pointless. Like, why are you doing that? Like,
and he was like, no, it's just a good skill to have. Like, some companies will even hire me because I have a first aid certificate. And I remember him actually like studying, like we still have, I think we even have the textbook at home, but he used to like study this little first aid book, and then he actually went for a test and he got a certificate. And 9-year-old me was like, okay, time waster. Flashback forward to me being 16, choking on the floor. My father comes running into the room. At this point, I'm literally like on all fours, kneeling on the floor. My father's like behind me. Boom, Heimlich maneuver. I have never been more grateful to have parents in my life, because literally I thought if I had been home alone with my sister, I was going to die. My parents were gonna come home and find me a corpse. And all of this was going to happen before I had a prom, so many things before I had a YouTube channel. Like, I was a goner. Anyway, my dad does the Heimlich maneuver on me. Heimlich. You know what I'm talking about though, the funny thing, right? The little capil, I promise you, it was thin. It was as thin as paper. This little thing that wanted to kill me. And I'm like, medication is supposed to save lives. Anyway, yeah, so unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know, when my dad did the whole Heimlich thing, right, the little pill came out, but then I guess he had kind of squashed out all my guts, and because of all the coughing anyway, I ended up like littering the floor with my internal contents. That was fine though. Like, honestly, throwing up is not that bad when you've just survived like a near-death experience. And like, I literally cried sitting in a pool of vomit, and the little pill was there, and I was weeping, and like, it was a very life-changing experience. Like, I went to school the following week, I got on the bus and I was apologizing to people left, right and center, like making friends. I'm like, YOLO, bro. Anyway, that experience is a 0 out of 10. Would not recommend. Anyway, let's move on to the next story. To be honest, I think I would really prefer for you guys to be the judge of which of these stories is the worst, because they're all very scary and life-threatening for different reasons. But I've just put them in the order of how scared I was in each of the situations. But if you feel like one deserves to be, just let me know in the comments. Feel free to share your experiences in the comments as well. If you have any similar experience, I'd like to know how you survived. Let's appreciate life. Anyway, the next story, this was like a year after the whole choking thing. I had long since forgotten that I almost died, and I was now living my life nice and free, whatever. I was in upper 6, I was 17, it was towards exam time, and everyone was deep in their books. It's a Sunday afternoon. Keep in mind, like I said, I went to boarding school, right? So Sunday afternoon I'll just be at school, just like roaming, right? Sunday afternoon, I'm at school. I just thought, it's kind of boring here. Let me go outside for a little walk. Like, on a Sunday afternoon, it wasn't very busy. Not a lot of people were outside. But yeah, I went on a little walk, and we had this area where there were like these big trees and benches, and it was just cute vibes, like, you know, benches in the shade, and like you could study there on the weekend if you wanted to. So I went there. Some of my friends were there. Oh gosh. So my 2 friends, I feel like there were 3 of us on that day, right? I don't want to say their real names though, just in case. I don't know. It always just feels safe enough to say people's real names. So we'll say there was Michael, Trevor, and I don't know what fake name can I give? Oh yes, okay, let's say there was Michael, Trevor, and Leroy, right? So Michael, Trevor, and Leroy, they were sitting on this bench, and it was a square-shaped bench, so it had a seat on each side, right? I went there, I sat down, having a little chit-chat, talking, laughing, you know, nothing serious. And Michael sitting across from me, right? All of a sudden, he's like, Inyokere, right? For anyone who doesn't speak Shona, that means, is that a snake? Right? He gets up, he jumps. But the thing is, you know, reaction time, by the time someone has finished saying, is that a snake? They're like, there. And he had pointed vaguely in my direction. So I'm like, is the snake above me? Is it on the table? Is it behind me? Is it on the tree behind me? Like, I don't know. So like, I just got out of my chair, but I was still just like standing there. And then I just moved like to the side. And I'm like, where? Basically, the snake was under my bench, right? But when I got there, there was no snake under the bench. The snake was in the tree, and I was sitting. So when Michael said, isn't that a snake? The snake was falling from the tree behind me. So he saw it when it was literally passing behind my head. So it fell literally like, just like it brushed the back of my head and onto the floor, right? Keep in mind, I hadn't felt a thing. So number one, I'm thinking, dang, if I had been sitting here on my own, that snake was really just gonna be there, and I would have never known because I didn't feel a thing, right? The second thing is, you know, if a snake falls onto you, directly onto you, it panics, so it bites you. So if I had literally been leaning back by like a few centimeters, it was going to bite me like in the middle of my head. Anyway, there's this snake on the floor. Now, Travis, did I say Travis? Trevor? What's his name? Travis. You know who I'm talking about though. Trevor is standing up. Leroy is standing up. We are all looking at the snake, right? The snake was gray outside and black inside, like inside the mouth. It was small. It was probably like this, right? But it's gray outside and it's black inside. For those who don't know, snakes that are black inside, they are called Black Mambas. Very scary. Very scary. Anyway, yeah, and I'm sure everybody knows that smaller snakes are more dangerous than full-grown snakes because they can't control their venom. So I was a proper goner. Like, Black Mambas kill, but the babies are just like a different level of lethal. And this thing fell behind my head. And, you know, I was just in shock. Like, I just stood there like, oh, nice. I guess I survived. But it's a very weird thing to think that, like, you could have died without even knowing that you're about to die. Anyway, thanks to Trevor, who is brave. Did we say his name is Trevor or Travis? Him, very brave. He killed it with like a rock. Hey, for those who like to conserve animals and what, I hear you. I feel you. However, this is a very venomous snake surrounded by literally teenagers in the middle of an academic institution. I think we were well within our rights to take that precaution. Yeah, literally to this day when I tell that story, people think I'm lying, or like people at school would be like, oh my gosh, take us to the tree, as if they were now gonna find another snake in there. But yeah, I almost got bitten by a Black Mamba. So that's my life story. Can't lie, it felt a little bit less scary than almost choking to death, but the fact, maybe it only gets to be scary because I survived. Let's get into the third story though. Let's move on to the third story. All right, So this one actually happened very recently. It's part of the reason I wanted to make this video, because it happened very recently. And like I told my mom, you know what, it's time to monetize that trauma. You heard me. Anyway, so about 2-3 weeks ago, right, I was sitting at home. Now whilst we are on this topic, I feel like it's important for me to explain something to you just for the sake of context, right? When I'm at home, I have certain chores that I do throughout the day, like a normal human being, right? And there's one particular chore that I know that I do it particularly at 5 o'clock every single day, like without fail. I cannot not do it, right? And there's a specific place outside where I do that, like a designated area for me to do it. And yeah, every day at 5, I go outside, I do that particular chore, and then I usually finish around 5:45, get back in the house. So usually, even if it rains, the place is kind of half covered by like a canopy, so even if it rains, I usually just stay there until I'm done with the chore. Keep in mind, this chore involves water, so I probably shouldn't even be doing it when it's raining, just in case. But yeah, so that's what I do, right? On this particular day, I was supposed to be doing that chore. It was like 4:55. I was watching, I don't know, I was watching something on the TV on Netflix, and then it was 5. And in my head, it was like, I'm supposed to be going outside to do ABC, which I always do. But you know what? I'm kind of lazy. So I told myself when my mom came home, I would just make some excuse for not doing the thing. Yeah. So I just didn't go outside to do the chore that I was supposed to be doing, right? It started drizzling, which, remember, like I said, normally that wouldn't have even stopped me. 10 minutes later, it was proper pouring rain, which is fine because Africa is hot and like who doesn't have a little cool weather? Like I love the rain. I love rainy days. Those are the best, honestly speaking. So yeah, it starts to rain. I'm watching my Netflix. My sister's in the next room. She's doing whatever she's doing. You know when rain is so peaceful, like nothing, no thunder, no lightning, just like calm, just like rain sound, right? Out of nowhere, the loudest clapping sound I've ever heard in my life. Like, you know, lightning when it's far away, when it's there, next door, not next door, when you see lightning in the distance, it makes sound, like thunder makes sound. That's a very different sound from what you hear when it's right above you. It's like if someone had like really large hands, think like a basketball player's hands, and then they clap, but the clap is happening inside of your head. Like this sound is like, it surrounds everything. It felt as if like it had moved through the walls, through everything to collide inside my head. I have never been more afraid in my life, and I mean that. Like, I remember I just like kind of curled up on the sofa because I literally had no, like, you cannot, it's, let me tell you, I now understand why people cannot run away from being shot, why people cannot run away from lightning. It's so sudden. There's nowhere to go. There's no movement you can make. By the time you realize it's happening, it's over. That's how it felt. Lightning, right? I'm in this funny position. I'm sitting like, you know how they tell you to sit in like a bomb drill or something like that, where you curl yourself up and your hands go on your head? Because I really, in that split second, really felt like the entire house was about to collapse. Right? I genuinely felt like the house was about to collapse. The TV was still working. The laptop is still working. Right? My sister is in the next room. So I got up, go to my sister. I'm like, dude, are you okay? She's like, you know what, I'm fine, but I saw a light. Basically, okay, to this day, it's still up to debate whether my sister saw lights as in she saw the lightning itself, or she saw light as in the electricity, like of kind of like an electrical fault, like that spray of electricity, or whether she saw an angel.
What did he say?
Nobody quite knows. What I can say though is that there was a bright light, and then nothing. All the lights in the house went out, right? And like there's an exit out the house where there's like light switches and stuff for the whole way, and the socket, it's not even a socket, the light switch had basically burst out the wall and was on the floor. So the wall, pieces of the wall were on the floor, pieces of the light switch were on the floor. On the outside of the house, like pieces of the wall had fallen off and like scattered in different places, several different points of the house. And the place where these like pieces of the wall had come off, I assume is the general area where the lightning struck, because obviously we were all inside, so nobody saw what actually happened. But the area, the general area within a few meter zone of the area where the lightning struck is the place where I was supposed to be doing my chores. So if I had not been lazy, if I hadn't said, oh, you know what, I'll just make a bogus excuse and I'll do it tomorrow, then I was gonna be right there when the lightning struck. Like I was going to be gone. Genuinely one of the scariest days of my life. Because what do you mean lightning struck the place where I ought to have been standing? Like, when I tell you that only God can kill me, I mean it. I mean it. Only God can sink this ship. That's right. Because that day, genuinely speaking, I just feel like the lightning really struck the place where I was supposed to be standing. And you know, it's crazy because, like I said, the chore which I had to do, the task which I had to be doing at that point involved water. So I was definitely going to be fried. I was going to be cooked. I was going to be roasted and toasted. But instead I'm here, alive and well. You never know. Stay safe out there. Anyway, yeah, I think pretty much I've survived my final destination 3 times. I don't have much more to say. I will hopefully be releasing this video on Friday, and hopefully there'll be another video next week Friday, because I'm trying to be consistent. I don't know what that was last week. Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your family, share with everybody in the whole damn neighborhood, and I'll see you guys next week with another video. Also, before I go, I forgot to mention, guys, I reached 1K views. Thank you so much. I did not think that would happen this soon at all. And like, one video making it to 1K is like the confidence booster that I needed. So like, that's crazy and that's great. For those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, on TikTok, follow me on Instagram, follow my TikTok, particularly Instagram, because that's where all the updates will be. There's also other interesting content that's going to be there. I'm trying to start something. I'm cooking something. I'm working on something. Anyway, then I won't stop talking if you don't stop watching. So bye.